Learn marketing, learn sales, learn cold outreach marketing to be specific.
I need a national model. There's no restrictions to a geographical location. I want to be able to go across the nation.
Time, skill, and money. Those are the three things that a business needs.
I don't want to compete with a bunch of guys over scraps. I want to be on the high level and there's less of us up there.
That is compound effect. You got to go through the journey, but what we've done is we've expedited the journey by putting so many successful ingredients into the same room.
We do in 1 year what I did in 5.
Turning back time, what is the biggest lesson that you've learned?
Find somebody who's done all the things you want to do. Shut up, be humble, be super valuable to them. You'll get there much faster.
America's backbone was built on blue-collar business grit, grind, and muscle. This is where you stop working for the business, and the business starts working for you.
I'm going to ask Chris a couple questions. He's going to ask me. We'll start off with this one. You're 41 years old. If you were 21 years old, if you could go back in a time capsule 20 years, what would you tell yourself?
Learn marketing, learn sales, learn cold outreach marketing to be specific, and learn customer buying psychology. Because then you're focused on what's in it for them and not what's in it for yourself. Because when you're hungry, all you can think about is yourself. But the way to get fed well and not be hungry is to start thinking about what's in it for someone else and the value. So here's my question for you. What is your framework of a perfect business? The business model now. With all your experience.
All right, this is what I want. For the actual business, I need a national model. There's no restrictions to a geographical location. I want to be able to go across the nation. I want to have no labor issues, so I'm going to use subcontractors because I want to be able to use qualified subs in any of those locations. I want to get big accounts that give me lots of business and that I can grow. So I've done this in gutters, we're doing it in windshields, where they might have 1,000 jobs a year and they give you one, and I know if I do one well, they'll give me 3. I can get to 10, I can get to 50, 100. So I actually grow as I do good service. And then sometimes those companies grow. Like I had apartment operators who I started off, they had 10 complexes. When I sold, they had 40. Wow. So I grew with them. They gave me 4 times the amount of work because they grew, not me. I just serviced them. So I need that. I want that service to be KISS, keep it simple, stupid. I don't want complicated services.
Right.
I want it to be a little bit niche. People aren't really onto it. There's some type of moat, a barrier. That could be insurance. That could be the fact that it's commercial. I don't want to compete with a bunch of guys over scraps. I want to be on the high level and there's less of us up there. And the last part is the framing of the people. For that, I want to buy that business that's already operating on some level. I can either do those things we just talked about to it, or it's already there and they just haven't done it enough. Like the windshield business, she had some national accounts like Penske, or at least low, but we knew they could actually be national. So we saw that opportunity. And then I want a structure of this is exactly what we have. I'll tell you, I don't want to call them young, but I'll call it that. Younger versions of myself who've had some success in life, maybe 10 years. They did well at a W-2. They did well in another business. Yeah, they didn't become millionaires, but they got a track record. Yeah, they're smart guys. Then I want the older guys. You're 41, so I won't call you old, but I'll call myself. I'm an OG. I want a guy who's already like been through wars. Yeah. And he should have been dead. The guy keeps coming. And in our case, I like 2 of those. And then I want a CFO, and Mike Gaines, in our case, is actually that as well. So we have 3 of them. I don't mind. It could be 1 or 2 partners. I want those 3 levels of people. Guys who could probably do it on themselves. Then you have the guys who've already done it, so they're going to get them there faster. They're almost always going to have capital because if they really did, they got some capital. And then I want a fractional CFO who's exited, who knows exactly how those books are, who comes on a call and he's got it dialed in and everybody believes in what he's saying, and then we do it. This is what we do. That's why it's going so fast.
That's
my
recipe
model
for success right there.
And somebody say, well, how the hell you do all that? You can do that with no money because our partners did it. You have to get around people who want to do it. I'm one of them, Chris. We know several people who do stuff like we do. I wasn't ready for that when I was 25 because I wanted to do my own thing. I thought I knew everything. I would love to go back 25, 30 years and say, listen, do what you're doing, but let's get with somebody who's like 40, who maybe already had a 10 million, like he already did this and he's going to take a big chunk of equity, but he's going to be your go-to. You're going to go way faster.
Time, skill, and money. Those are the three things that a business needs. And when you're looking at partnership,
Reoccurring revenue. I don't want to be restrained by geography and I don't want to be restrained by labor. It's stacking on itself. It's the same thing. The same customers are calling you over and over and over again. I don't want to do one-off stuff.
I love that. After seeing the
It's
model
simple.
in the windshield business, it has completely changed my mind.
I will 100% do that another dozen times in my lifetime.
Same.
And now I'm only competing against us. When our windshield business, and I don't tell you guys, I have to beat, what I sold for private equity, I have to beat that. I cannot go underneath that.
But look at how
But
fast
we might
this
be okay
one,
with going underneath
look at how fast this one right here
yeah.
has grown compared to the other
Way
one. And
faster.
that is compound effect. And that's what's so amazing about, you got to go through the journey, but what we've done is we've expedited the journey by putting so many successful ingredients into the same room.
It's like a 4-to-1, 5-to-1 year difference. We do in 1 year what I did in 5. Some of that was capital constraints for me, but that's part of it.
Yeah.
5-to-1. That's kind of crazy. So in 10 years, we did in 2 years.
Where you were learning the model, but
Yeah,
now
I was
you've got
learning,
the
I was
model.
figuring it out.
So now it's just
I
the
didn't
rinse
know.
and
Yeah, I was
repeat.
figuring it out. I had reluctance to do that model. Oh, they're going to mess up all my jobs.
Yeah.
They didn't. They actually did better than most of my employees. So
That's wild.
that's what I would do. Another one is, how has it worked for you where you have a blue collar business where you have cash and then you started buying real estate? And how's that model work for you?
So I heard Grant Cardone say this, and he said, what I want is I want to have multiple streams of income. I want to turn on all these faucets at the same time so that they're just dripping cash to me. And when I heard that, it changed the way I started thinking about income. And I had my clean and restoration business. So I started looking at real estate and started throwing cash into that because that was a store of value, but it was not just storing my value, my cash. It was also making me money on the flip side because you can get paid 4 ways on real estate. So I took time away. It did take my time. I didn't partner with someone and I had to learn the operation of it. But now I have a team that completely runs that. Like literally, I have someone that brings me the deals, hunts the deals, and brings me those deals, and I pay them a fee for finding them because I don't spend my time hunting the deals. They're called a wholesaler. Then after I look at it and the numbers look good, I know what I'm going to pay for it. I know what I'm going to spend on rehab. I'll walk through with my team and I say, here's what we're doing on this particular one. And then we use the same finishes every time. And then we'll either flip it or we sit there and put it into a rental portfolio. And when it's a rental portfolio, I'm getting appreciation, depreciation, I'm getting cash flow and debt pay down because I put leverage debt on it with the bank, pull my money back out and just start spinning it back into other properties. So I get velocity with my money when I'm using it in real estate. But I also, outside of that, I turn on other streams of income like IULs, Index Universal Life, structured properly, not the insurance salesman around the corner that's selling it with a big commission on the back end, but we got Jonathan Wield that really does a great structuring for the entrepreneur, and because he's an entrepreneur himself. And so he helped us create our IULs. I know you got one, I've got one, all my kids have one. So I'm constantly looking at new streams of revenue because I want to have multiple faucets flowing money out of them. So you've got where I'm trading my time, then you've got where I'm sending my money out to create new money soldiers, and then you've got also death benefits with the IUL. So I can pull from it and leverage against my insurance policy. But yet, if anything ever happened to me, debt's taken care of and then some so that my family is covered. Because I'm the rainmaker in the family, so I need to make sure that the rain is still made if I disappear and my family's debt is covered and they have extra. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're living for, is to get enough money so that it's a tool that creates a comfortable lifestyle and we don't have to worry about it for generations. And then the next strategy is making sure you don't make trust fund kids so that they ruin their lives because they don't understand how to work for anything. And that is my philosophy on what I do from where I trade my time on money, which is always going to be your highest return on value on investment. And then I start deploying it into other safe vehicles. I played the game in crypto. I played the game in Forex. I played the game in the, throw your money over here in a drop ship business. And all of those, I got in when it was super popular on the news, which was the wrong time to get in, and they flopped. And so now I look more strategically at what I'm putting it into. Businesses, I have so many levers I can pull.
Affecting that business.
So I can hop in that business and deploy capital. I can hop in that business and strategically think. And then if I had to, if all crap hit the fan, I could go in and I could operate it at some level until I could find another operator. So that's how I play. My time makes me the biggest money, and then I start deploying that because that's my diversification. But here's one lesson that I want everybody to take away when I use the word diversification. You can't diversify your time. If you are an operator in a business and you start diversifying in completely different things, you're going to neglect the primary business and it will start to suffer. So the only way you can move from that primary is if someone else is taking over those responsibilities, because diversification of your particular time is a lie. You can diversify your money investments, but your time can only be focused on one thing if you want it to grow. And if you're an operator in your business, don't think about diversifying your time until you can replace yourself. Then you can move to something else. Diversify your money investments, not your time investments.
100% agree with that. Focus is your friend. Stay all in on it. Don't give away the most important needle movers. I see guys, I'll talk to them, they're like, yeah, I'm going to hire a sales guy, and they don't have enough sales. I say, yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
You got to be the sales guy till you get to that point. But you got to stay focused on the number one thing until you get it to a point. There was times everybody has shiny new object about 2018, 19. I never thought I was going to do that well. I'm going to tell you. But I was like, why would I go off on the other things? Why not just literally double this?
Yeah.
That would be kind of nuts at this point. And that's actually a path of least resistance than going to start something else. That's what I did. Stay focused on your thing. Then you can go either sell it and go do a new thing, or you get it to a point where it truly grows without you. You can get it to there, but that's very hard to do.
My primary business suffered when I went to real estate. Do I regret it at this point? I don't know, because I don't know. It's tough to turn back time. So, but I'm not active in my real estate anymore. I've got a team
That's why I asked
surrounding
you
me.
it, because I knew that's a much better thing.
Yeah. So I'm back in my business, trading my time and building enterprise
If you
value.
were, you wouldn't be doing this. You
No.
wouldn't be in. You just wouldn't have enough time. Everything, when you give something to one thing, it has to come from somewhere.
That's right.
It could come from a business. It could come from time with your family. It could come from sleep. It could come from work. It's coming from somewhere. So guard that like your life depends on it.
Absolutely.
You got to use the best.
Turning back time, what is the biggest lesson that you've learned? You go back and you tell your 21-year-olds.
I know what I think about it a lot. I'll tell you what I would tell. I would say to myself, if I was talking to myself, hey, you're smart. You're doing really well. You're comparing yourself to your friends. So you think you're doing better than you really are. Here's a new thing. Let's find somebody who's done all the things you want to do. Shut up. Be humble. Be super valuable to them. Let them eat too. And then I would look to do something with them. You'll get there much faster. When you're 52 years old, you're going to have a massive exit. I want you to do it at 32.
Yeah.
You will not do it at 32, my friend, by yourself, because I'm the person who did it. But if you can do this, you're 26, you could absolutely do it with a guy who's 50, who's already done it, and you could get there at 32.
All right, guys. Appreciate y'all tuning in. If y'all want more of this Blue Collar Millionaire, then check out bluecollarmillionaire.net. See you next week.